Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good morning. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Prabhupada Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Divine Grace of Charnarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya BBT Sansthapak Acharya Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hare Hare All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So once upon a time, a gentleman hired a person to help with the household chores. So the person wasn't really trained. So the hired help wasn't really trained. So he would get some training on the job. So one particular day, they had a guest come to the house. And the guest was welcomed and given a seat. The hired help went into the inner rooms, inner chambers. So suddenly he heard the owner of the house call out to him. The guest needed a glass of water to drink. So he said, please bring a glass of water. So the hired help comes with a glass of water. He's carrying the glass in his hands. So after the guest leaves, the owner calls him and tells him that this is improper etiquette. If we have guests in the house and if we offer them something, then you should bring it in a tray. So he said, all right. So a few days later, there was another guest visiting the house. So it's time for the guest. The guest needs water to drink, so he brings water in a tray. a glass of water in a tray. So the owner is very happy. The owner goes like, well done. So the hired help is also happy. So the owner is now sending off his guest. The guest is to leave, so he's sending off the guest. He looks at the guest's footwear and he says, "Oh, let me give you a gift. I have," because that footwear was really worn out, the sandals. So he says, "I have some sandals that I use, but I could share it with you." So this was also a friend. So he calls out to his hired help and he says, "Please bring my sandals." So he brings those sandals in a tray. So many times it becomes difficult to understand what is the correct behavior. Norms change. There are too many norms. So, when we come to Krishna consciousness, within our institute, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we are told that now, as members of this institution, we are all Vaishnavas. We like this new term. Vaishnavas, good. The first time I was at immigration coming from India, they asked me at immigration here in the West, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm a Vaishnava." They immediately told me, wait, they took me for interrogation. So since then, I've always said I'm a monk. Yeah. Anyway, so we are Vaishnavas. And like any other profile, any designation that we have in this world, there are certain expectations of behavior. When we accept a designation, there are certain expectations of behavior, right? Like here, if I am entering the temple, since I have some clout here, in the sense, I know a lot of people, have seen people kind of grow up. So if they see me here in the parking, they are like, "Please come, Prabhuji, come." And the red tape is gone for me. Right? So everyone else, like, "No, please, this is not where you enter from." Like, "Prabhuji, yes, no, you can come through here, no problem." So yesterday I was flying into Calgary, so I had to go through Canadian customs. Stop! That wasn't for me. Person in front of me, or maybe somebody who was there a couple of minutes ago, stopped. So there I was waiting, like this. Now, even if the custom people had tilak on their foreheads, even if they knew me, they'd still tell me, "Wait." Now, if I did not understand the difference, then I could easily feel offended. Isn't it? So not only are we supposed to be aware of what behavior is helpful, we also need to be educated into where and how, under what circumstances one has to give appropriate expression of one's emotions. So that is called as etiquette. Etiquette simply means how does one express oneself? Isn't it? For example, if I come into the temple, I see three males. To one, I offer respects and I will touch their feet. To another, I may give them a hug or an embrace. And towards another, I may accept their respect. Why? Because one is my father, the other is my brother, and the third one is my son. So you see, it's the same place. People, all family members, but the expression is a little different with each one of them. So this is called as etiquette. So I'm not going to I hope I'll try not to super impress yourself and myself with all the knowledge that I have. I try. So I'll tell you a story from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya's activities have been chronicled in this book called the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Everyone is okay with that? Is there somebody who's kind of wondering what is Chaitanya Charitamrita? Please raise up your hands. Okay. So Lord Chaitanya, everyone knows who's Lord Chaitanya? Is there somebody who doesn't know who's Lord Chaitanya? Okay. So Lord Chaitanya is Krishna who has appeared in the present age of Kali to help us understand how to practice the Yuga Dharma, the spiritual practices for this age. This is Sankirtan. So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he is Krishna himself and he has come in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Do you know that? Do you know this phrase? Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. It rhymes. It's like a couplet. This is Bengali. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya means the personality of the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Radha Krishna Nahi Anya is non-different from the combined form of Radha and Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas at an early age. He took up to the renounced order of life. He's like, okay, I'm retiring without social benefits. So the government was also happy. No problem. I don't need any unemployment benefits. So the government is like, all right. So that is sannyas. So he took sannyas. On the request of his mother, he stationed himself in Sri Jagannath Puri. In those days, the connectivity was not very good. So his mother would live in a place known as Navadip, Bengal. So they had, very well, that's me right there. Okay. Sometimes as singers we need a feedback speaker. So maybe as speakers we need video feedback. So it's right there. So Jagannath Puri, the communication between individuals was not as well developed as it is today. Right? Today you may not be aware of some drone just catching your private moments or just cameras, you know. But today your cell phones have very sharp cameras. Like from a mile or 2 miles away you can capture things on video. So in those days that was not there. So there was only people-to-people communication. Somebody would be traveling to another place, they come back with news. So his mother had requested him to stay in Jagannath Puri because then she would be getting news of him. So he agreed. There he met his old friend, somebody who was much senior to him in age. A great saint by the name of Haridas Thakur. So please remember these names, alright? So he met Haridas Thakur. So he asked Haridas Thakur to stay at a particular place called as Siddha Bakul. Thakur Haridas was happy. He said, sure my dear Lord, I'll do that. After a couple of years of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu staying in Jagannath Puri, a gentleman whom he had met once, many years ago, about when he was in his early 20s, he had met this gentleman. When he met this gentleman, he said, I'll give you a new name. And the gentleman was very happy. He said, yes, I would like a new name. He said, your name shall be Sanatan. Later on, he became qualified enough to be called a Goswami. So Sanatan Goswami. So Lord Chaitanya gave him a new name, and he also urged him to leave Bengal and go to Vrindavan along with his brother Rupa. So the two of them went to Vrindavan. A few years after their stay in Vrindavan, Sanatan Goswami felt this intense urge to come back to Jagannath Puri and meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he had to cross across the Gangetic plains and the forests therein. Then he comes to the hills, mountain range, the eastern Ghats. And as he's passing through the forest and the mountains, he catches a skin disease. So there are sores all over his body. By the time he comes to Jagannath Puri, he has the sores, he's itchy all over, the sores have some of them have ruptured, they were oozing, and there wasn't really, he hadn't gotten much help, medical help. So he was just trying to tolerate it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw him, he said, oh, I'm so happy to see you. You've come to Jagannath Puri. Please stay with Haridas Thakur. So he took up residence with Haridas Thakur. Okay? What is the place called? Siddha Bakul. Siddha Bakul. So Bakul is the name for a tree. Bakula tree. Which gives very fragrant flowers. So the residence was under a tree. Like sometimes here, not sometimes, but here you say, yeah, I live off the Deerfoot Trail. Like trail. And when you look at it, it's like this huge road. A trail. So a Bakula tree like that. They would live under a Bakula tree. Okay? So Sanatan Goswami was living with Haridas Thakur. Sanatan Goswami had come to Jagannath Puri in the month of Vaishak. We are right there right now. Okay? March, April. The month of Vaishak. The next month is the month of Jyesht. So April, May. In India, the the sun god is really merciful. You don't even have to ask him for mercy. It's like, take all. What do I have to offer to you? A lot of heat and a lot of light. Intense heat. Temperatures could go up to like 50, 55 degrees Celsius, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 150. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had this desire. I want to call Sanatan to my place. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone visiting his friend Gadadhar. And close to Gadadhar's place, his residence, is a beautiful temple of Lord Shiva. Many years ago, like thousands of years ago. If you believe that time existed thousands of years ago. Thousands and thousands of years ago. The god of death, Yamaraj, had worshipped Lord Shiva, Mahadevji there, in a garden close to the ocean. So a garden is called as tota. Right? In India, not here. In Orissa, it is called as tota. Well, it was called, nowadays no one calls it tota. In those days, 500 years ago. So since Yamaraj worshipped Mahadev here, this deity of Mahadev, the linga, is known as Yameshwara Tota. The place is called as Yameshwara Tota, and the deity is known as Yameshwar Mahadev. If you go to Jagannath Puri and if you ask Yameshwar, they're like, what is that? So you have to say Jameshwar. What do you have to say? Not sure. Jameshwar. Jameshwar Tota. Then they'll be very happy to take you to that place. Dialects are different. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent a message to Sanatana Goswami. Please come and meet me at Jameshwar Tota. Sanatana Goswami was so excited. So this is the month of Jyeshta, the sun is really shining down. That in those days there were two ways to reach this place, because next to the ocean, so you'd have the beach and then you'd have foliage. Generally next to the ocean in tropical places, the foliage is a lot of thorns. Yeah? You will drive down the coast to the south of the United States towards Miami, you'll find a lot of thorny bushes right next to the beach. Typical tropical climate. So the beach, sandy desert, right? So thorns grow. So there was the main road to the temple, to the temple of Lord Jagannath, and then there was a beach road. The beach road basically means that you walk over the sand. So at noon time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent message to Sanatana Goswami. This is in peak of summer. So he comes to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's very happy. He's feeling overjoyed. When he comes to Yameshwar Tota, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's assistant, Govinda, he offers him some food. It's lunchtime. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is taking rest. So Sanatana Goswami, he honors the prasad, and then he approaches Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya looks at him and he asks him, which way did you come? And Sanatana Goswami was quiet. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, which way did you come? Kim pathe? What way? He said, I came by the beach road. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that the soles of his feet were blistered. They had blisters on them. He had walked, and the distance is about 2 kilometers, roughly 2 kilometers, maybe one, if you take the beach road from Siddhabakul to Yameshwar Tota. So he had walked on the burning sand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, why did you? You did not have to do this. He said, my dear Lord, I never realized that my feet were burned. I never realized that I had blisters on my feet. I'm so happy to see you. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was like, shh, calm down. Calm down. He was really very excited. It's like for especially immigrants here, it's like when you get your appointment for the interview. You're so excited, right? You're sitting there. So what is the reason you want to immigrate here and so on, and those questions, or for your citizenship? Very excited, isn't it? Job interview. So sometimes you blurt out things in overexcitement. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, easy, easy, easy. You could have come by the main road. The road that leads to the temple of Lord Jagannath. Sanatana Goswami said, my dear Lord, please trust me. I did not feel any pain walking over the sand. And also, I do not have access to the temple road. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, it's a non-toll road. It's a public road. Did you not know that? And Sanatana Goswami is like, my dear Lord, you know everything. I feel I have no access to that road because the personal servants of Lord Jagannath are always using that road. And because they serve Lord Jagannath at the temple, and the temple is a very, very vibrant public place. So the servants have to be very careful that they are following all the norms of good hygiene. You know, temple is a right place for epidemics to spread if one is not careful. Why? There's the crowds. Therefore, according to Vedic tradition, one should visit the temple after having taken a bath. Typically, that's the instruction. So that we are clean. We come to this public place, we don't want the others, visitors to catch any virus, infection. At least we can try to be clean. So he said, the servants of Lord Jagannath visit the temple, they use that road. I am an unclean person. I am very unclean in my habits. I am very unclean mentally. I do not have any good qualities. Therefore, if I use the temple road and unknowingly I contact some of the servants of Lord Jagannath, they would have to go and cleanse themselves once again. So, hence, my dear Lord, I use this road. the Bhishma. And please trust me, it wasn't painful at all. I don't know why my feet are misbehaving like this, but they just want sympathy. These blisters are nothing. I'll take care of it. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was amazed. He wasn't amazed that Sanatana Goswami would behave in this manner. He knew that this is how Sanatana Goswami does interact with people. He's always very gentle with others. So what was his amazement? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's amazement was that in the future, all of us would be sitting here and listening to this. That was his amazement. And now, there is Praman. There is this life incident of a great personality, a great saint, a great devotee, Sanatana Goswami. And it will be heard by all the future generations. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can pull up that verse. It is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 4. Sorry, Ante Leela, chapter 4. Ante Leela. I'm so sorry. Chapter 4, verse number 129. Ante Leela, yes. Uh, 129. 129. Yes. First we'll read a translation. No, sorry.
No, chapter 4.
Chapter 4, verse number 129. And chapter 5, I think so. You went to chapter 5.
No, this is
So
4.
this is chapter 4.
4.
This is 4? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, perfect.
129.
129. Yeah, there are a lot of verses, like in hundreds. So sometimes you get confused. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Haribo. Finally we are there. यद्यपि हो तुम्ही हाओ जगत पावन तमा स्पर्शे पवित्र है देव मुनिगण तथापि भक्त स्वभाव मर्यादा रक्षण मर्यादा पालन होय साधुर भूषण. Translation. Srila Prabhupada writes, my dear Sanatan, although you are the deliverer of the entire universe and although even the demigods and great saints are purified by touching you, it is the characteristic of a devotee to observe and protect the Vaishnava etiquette. Maintenance of the Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of a devotee. Do you like ornaments? Is there anyone here who doesn't like ornaments? Everyone has some kind of liking for ornaments, isn't it? Like for many devotees, if they find a new ornamental neck bead at a store, it will be interesting, isn't it? Fine neck beads, thick neck beads. Ornaments. Now, ornaments do not come free. Do they come free? No. Somebody has to pay for it. So you need to have resources to have ornaments, isn't it? So what is the ornament of a devotee? Etiquette. Now, one should be able to have resources to possess etiquette. Correct? So this is a very poetic statement. Maintenance of the Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of a devotee. Poem. Everyone likes poem, right? Shall I tell you some poetry in Hindi? We'll translate it into English sometime. Hindi? Is that alright?
Yes.
So there was a boy who was writing an essay during an exam. The essay was on the cow. गाय हमारी माता है, इससे ज्यादा नहीं आता है. The cow is our mother, and I do not have anything more to offer about the cow. I cannot write anything more. Poetry, right? गाय हमारी माता है, इससे ज्यादा आगे कुछ नहीं आता. So this goes to the examiner, the one who's going to assess the essay. So during assessment time, the examiner reads that. Okay. C grade or D, but with a comment. वह हमारा बाप है, मार्क्स देना पाप है. So if the cow is our mother, then the bull is our father. However, I would not be able to give you any grades, any marks on this. 0. Poetry, it's fun, especially if there's humor in it, isn't it? But then, we also have to try and spend time on the meaning that these humorous words are trying to bring forth. What is the meaning? So, when we try to meditate on the meaning, then maybe we get inspired for transforming our lives. So, maintenance of Vaishnava etiquette. Simple statement. Yeah. We should be maintaining Vaishnava etiquette. It's the ornament of a devotee. Oh yeah. I'll use it to decorate myself. However, we need to have resources to possess etiquette. So what are those resources? Certain training. So when we have training, like growing up in India, every child, when I was young, seems ages ago, like one kalpa ago, like a toddler. So training at home. You touch anything with the left hand? No, don't. Especially food. Left hand? No. Right hand? Yes. So slowly growing up, you realize that if you are in a situation where you are physically contaminated, you could still use your left hand. Because that is not the hand with which you'll feed yourself. Never ever the right hand. Because in case you need to eat, this should be clean. Now in India, when I was growing up, you did not have sanitizers and you did not have water available at all public places. So this training was helpful. It was very helpful. Because as a little boy, walking down the road, sometimes you have to move things, articles. It could be a bush, it could be some object. Use the left hand. And the next moment, somebody could be offering you food and you have the right hand. Clean. But if you use both hands, then either you're going to eat food that is contaminated with your contaminated hands, or you're going to miss out on eating it. Today we have better facilities, so you can be ambidextrous. Alright, training. So that training is so ingrained that if I have a plaster on my right hand, I'm like, sorry, I cannot take Charanamrita. Why? Not with the left hand. Either you can use the left hand, or you could always ask somebody else to help you. But please take the benefit of Charanamrita. So training helps one interact with people. Especially if you are in a community, then the training that is acceptable in that community is very helpful. So Vaishnava community, so we have Vaishnava etiquette. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, this act of yours shows that you are so very particular about the etiquette. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts Sanatana Goswami's considerations. However, he's still concerned about the blisters on his feet. Now, there are two more statements that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes, and we are going to read those two. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So the next verse now. Maryada langhana loka kare upahasa iha loka paraloka dui hayanash. So if one is not able to follow certain behavioral norms, then people are not happy with you. They feel either insulted or they feel uncomfortable with you around them. So slowly you find yourself being pushed outside the sphere of community interactions. So how could we be happy if you do not have interactions? Therefore, Vaishnava etiquette helps people to gel together. Alright? Helps people doing that. I was at the airport and I saw somebody that I respect a lot. So, this was before we would be catching our flight. So the waiting area there. So I, as Vaishnavas you offer pranams. So I offered pranam there. The others around me were like, what is this? Some were concerned, are you okay? So I'm like, yeah, I'm perfectly okay. I'm in Krishna, we are practicing devotees. You know what is devotees? Oh, we are from Islam. So I got some time to preach. It was helpful. Another episode. Airport. I was off the flight, collected my bags, waiting for somebody to pick me up. Two people get out of the car. They offer obeisances, Dandvat Pranam. Two policemen come out. So that was an opportunity to also explain Krishna consciousness. However, their final comment was, do that in church. Not here. Lesson learned. Anyways, we'll come back here. Maryada Langhana. If one transgresses the laws of etiquette, people make fun of that person. And one is vanquished in this world. And if there is an afterworld. As Vaishnavas, we believe in afterlife. If there's an afterworld, and people there have taken cognizance of a transgression, then they are also not happy. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that one is not happy here or in the next world. So basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in a very, very different way, it's like right now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is kind of showing us a horror movie, and we are trying to bring humor into that too. Yes, a humorous way. But, and I'm purposefully using the word but here, but we should try to see that we can practice etiquettes properly. It's very helpful. Next. Maryada rakhile tushto kaile moro mona tumi aiche na korile kore kono jana. This is predictable, he says. It's not, or let us say, this isn't unpredictable that Sanatana Goswami would behave like this. Who says like that? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you have satisfied my mind. And what else was I going to expect from you? This is what I expected. Because I know the qualities that you possess. What a refined gentleman you are. And hence, now that you have displayed this, I can use this incident to be told and retold again and again and again, generation after generation. After saying this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Sanatana Goswami. Poor Sanatana was now feeling very unhappy because he had sores all over his body and they were getting squished. It wasn't painful for him, but he was feeling that this was dirty for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Alright? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was trying to push himself away, and Mahaprabhu was like, no, I'll embrace you. He was like, going, trying to step away from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the more he tried to do that, the more Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body was being smeared. Newton's law of motion, action. If the push away force is lesser than the pull away force, then there's going to be a lot of friction. So, both of them now, Sanatana Goswami goes to his residence, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to his residence. Sanatana Goswami has a guest. The guest's name is Jagadananda Pandit. What is the name? I hope you'll remember all the names. Jagadananda Pandit. Jagadananda Pandit helps Sanatana Goswami to unburden himself. Just his presence. So he starts speaking to Jagadananda. Opens up to Jagadananda because all that was bottled up. Mahaprabhu embracing him and he feeling so bad about himself. He says, I came to Jagannath Puri to diminish my dukkha, my unhappiness. Waha! Because as soon as you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you feel so happy. However, the Lord stopped me from executing what I had in my mind. I just wanted to see him and feel happy, but he was embracing me. Every time he embraces me, all the discharge from the sores, it smears his body. And I feel that I'm committing offenses against him because he is the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord should be covered with Chandan, Chandan Yatra. He says, but this is not Chandan. So I came here to benefit myself, but now I can see that actually I'm harming myself more. Jagadanand Pandit says, I feel you, I feel you. He says, I understand. I think the most suitable place for you is Vrindavan. So after Rath Yatra festival, so Rath Yatra would be after 2 months, right? In Ashad. Jyeshta, Ashad. Vaishak, Jyeshta, Ashad. So he says, after the Rath Yatra festival, just another month. Try to stay away from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as much as you can. I'm not trying to send you away to Vrindavan. No. No, my dear brother. But I know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he met you and your brother, he said, Vrindavan is the land of your ancestors. It is your inheritance. So you should go to Vrindavan. So I'm just reminding you that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave you the land of Vrindavan. Since your purpose of coming here was that you wanted to have the darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so, take live darshan from a distance, and then you can leave for Vrindavan. Sanatana Goswami said, you are the best friend anyone could have. You have given me such good advice. I shall leave this place immediately after Rath Yatra and go there. And this is according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions too. He wanted us to go to Vrindavan. So now both friends part ways. The next day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to Siddha Bakula. And whom does he meet there? Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami, both of them. So they offer their respects to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Sanatana Goswami stays far away. Why? Because that was the plan. Live darshan from far. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like, where is Sanatan? Where is Sanatan? Sanatan is kind of trying to keep himself away. But the Lord is there in everyone's heart. Where is Sanatan? Sanatan! 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 Now the Lord is calling for you. And you are able to hear Him call. And you become all the more uncomfortable. Sanatan was really squirming. However, he didn't want to commit any more offenses. So, in his mind, he was thinking that if I come there, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was like, not just calling out to Sanatan, he's like, Sanatan, where are you? I want to embrace you. I want to give you a hug. Sanatan, where are you? Sanatan is like, My jar of debts is full. I cannot pay back anymore. The mortgage is too high. Sanatan was backing away. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu catches a glimpse of Sanatana Goswami. Zoom! Before Sanatan knows, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is right next to him. And he gives him a tight embrace. And then he takes both Sanatana Goswami and Haridas to a secluded place, makes them sit. Sanatana Goswami, he lets out all of his emotions to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like this was really overwhelming for him. He says, my dear Lord, I came here for my benefit, but I see that I'm just getting the opposite. So, I'm unfit for rendering any service unto you. I commit this offense every day because you are the Supreme Lord, you are all merciful. So you always want to give your mercy by your embrace. But then my past credits get depleted. So I'm contaminated, my birth is contaminated, I have so many disqualifications, and now my body, which is simply giving the reactions to all of my past impious deeds, I mean, that is actually causing disservice to you. So, my dear Lord, I have had a chat with Jagadananda Pandit, and Jagadananda has given me good advice. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks him, oh, Jagadananda has given you good advice. Nice. What did he advise you? So now we'll go to verse number 158. 158. Please remember, somewhere at the back of your mind, remember the topic for today's discussion is etiquette. Alright? So now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks about Jagadananda. Kalikara Batuya Jaga Aiche Garva Haila Toma Sabareha Upadesh Korita Lagila. Batuya means a dwarf thinking himself to be a giant. Like the intellectual capacity of Jagadananda is of a dwarf, and he thinks he has the intellectual capacity of a giant. So the translation, Jaga is only a new boy. If I could use the English of India, yesterday's boy, you're like, just born yesterday and today giving advice. He has become so proud that he thinks himself competent to advise a person like you. Etiquette again. Next verse. What does the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? व्यवहारे परमार्थे तुम्ही तारा गुरु तुल्य तुम्हारे उपदेशे न जाने आपन मूल्य. He says, in affairs of spiritual advancement and even in ordinary dealings, you are on the level of a spiritual master. Yet, not knowing his own value, he dares to advise you. So, Jagadananda Pandit is of a similar age as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are friends growing up. They grew up together. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in his 20s right now. Late 20s. Jagadananda is in late 20s. Haridas Thakur is a senior citizen by this time. Sanatana Goswami also is a senior citizen. A little younger than Thakur Haridas in age. Okay? So therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that even in ordinary dealings you are on the level of a spiritual master. In other words, even in ordinary dealings, you respect the experience of people older than you. Because people older than you have much more experiences of this, they are supposed to have much more experiences of this world, isn't it? The world teaches you. Even if you don't want to learn, the world does teach you lessons. So the more time you spend in this world, the more experiences you have. Therefore, in India or in the Vedic traditions, old age and wisdom are kind of, they have a co-relationship, they have a relationship. You know, the older you are, the wiser you are. So he says, he dare advise you. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says something interesting. Next verse. Amara upadeshta tumi pramanika arja tomareha upadeshe balaka kare aichikari. He says, you are fit enough, Sanatana Goswami. You are on the level of my advisor, for you are an authorized person. But Jaga wants to advise you. This is but the impudence of a naughty boy. Many years ago, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had met Sanatana Goswami had advised him, my dear Lord, you are traveling with so many people, going to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a place for meditation. So it is just a request unto you that it would be helpful to travel alone to Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, oh, thank you. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cut short his trip to Vrindavan that time. So he says, you are on the level of my advisor. Jaga is my friend. We grew up together. And he wants to advise you. This is his impudence. So, again we see how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to establish for us, or he wants us to learn through certain pastimes that he and his devotees have had. Sanatana Goswami now turns this around. He says, my dear Lord, now I can understand my misfortune. You have such great affection for Jagadananda. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like, what? He's like, yes. Because you considered him to be so dear to you, a close acquaintance. Therefore you are offering such hard words of advice for him. Harsh words. However, such advice by close acquaintances is actually nectar for that individual. Because only a close friend or a close acquaintance, a well-wisher, offers advice which is helpful and healthy for one. So here you have revealed that Jagadananda is more dear to you. Therefore you are giving him the nectar of harsh words and you are making me drink the poison of sweet words. Interesting. I feel so unfortunate that you have not accepted me as one of your close acquaintances. You are completely the independent supreme personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately blushed. He's like, oof. Like, he went red. Sanatana's got me. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to cover up. He said, my dear Sanatana, please don't say like that. You are more dear to me. You are as dear to me as Jagadananda. Sanatana Goswami is, okay, if you say so. What I meant was that you are an experienced person in the Shastras, whereas Jaga is just a young boy. So another aspect of etiquette. Jagadananda Priya Amar, I won't pull up the verse now. I want to finish it up in the next couple of minutes. Jagadananda Priya Amar nahe toma hoite maryada langhana ami na paro sahite. I could not tolerate maryada langhana. So he says, it's not that Jagadananda is more dear. Here I just want to establish that you are also an intelligent person. Jagadananda is also an intelligent and educated person. He should have realized what you are feeling rather than give free advice. Immediately give reactive advice. You should have realized that. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that, and the reason I'm making these comments is that you have the power to convince even me. In many places you have already convinced me about ordinary behavior. So he remembers that the time when Sanatana advised him to go alone to Vrindavan, travel alone to Vrindavan. And then he says, I don't offer advice to you or anyone else because I feel close to them. I offer advice because they are qualified to receive advice. I'm not trying to praise you just to gain some brownie points, or just to show that I'm so good in my behavior. I'm praising you because you have such qualifications. You consider your body to be dangerous, but your body for me is like nectar. And your body does not, whatever oozes out of your body is not bad. It does not have bad odor. It is very fragrant. It is fragrant like Chatushama, something like sandalwood. So this could be like a hyperbole, like an exaggeration. Swords don't have fragrance. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes scripture and says, anything that is touched by Krishna is fragrant. So because a devotee's life has been touched by Krishna, if all of the devotee's possessions becomes fragrant. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, as the author, he offers his 2 cents of comment. He's like, I have to do this at this point of time. I have to make this comment. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that when Krishna touches a devotee, then a devotee's existence is spiritualized and therefore it becomes fragrant. So he says, the first time when Sanatana Goswami arrived in Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him. And since the time of that embrace, Sanatana Goswami's body has become fragrant. Thakur Haridas, he's like, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yes, I know you are also here. Because he's feeling left out now. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought both of them to the secluded place and he's just talking to Sanatana Goswami. He's like, okay. So he feels as if he is in a live conversation but he's watching it on Zoom. So he's like, my dear Lord, I'm also here, right here. He says, my dear Lord, I think this is just a pastime. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, I'm a sannyasi. I have given up distinction between good and bad. I accept whatever comes. If I start rejecting that which I feel or others feel is bad, then I'm not following my etiquettes, the etiquettes of my ashram, my occupational duty. So my vyavahar would be affected. Haridas Thakur is like, you can say that, but I really know that you are the person knowing Sanatana Goswami's heart through your external energy. You arrange the situation that Sanatan would be having the suffering because you wanted to reveal to Sanatan his own qualities undergoing this test. And it is you only that is going to be merciful to Sanatana Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, let me tell you, actually, both of you are like my children. And if a parent, a mother, is carrying her child, and the child passes out, excretes certain offensive material, the parent does not get disgusted with it. Similarly, the sores on Sanatana Goswami's body and the liquid oozing out of it does not disgust me because you two are my children. Both Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur, they go, they really feel so connected to Lord Chaitanya. In India, I wouldn't have said, I would have said, ish. people in India could relate to that. Really felt very embarrassed. But so much of affection for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu picks up Sanatan and embraces him, and lo and behold, the sores are gone. So Sanatan's skin becomes resplendently effulgent with a golden hue. And when all of us hear this, we go like, well done, well done, well done, clap your hands. That is the end of the story. So Vaishnava etiquette is not something, is not a way of life that is very arduous. It is not a way of life that would straitjacket us. Proper implementation of Vaishnava behavior helps have very fruitful, happy, and healthy interactions with the members of the same community and also with other living beings. So we can learn more about Vaishnava etiquette from about the Vaishnava etiquettes that we conform to within ISKCON. We have it available in the form of a booklet. If it is available here, you could take a copy for yourself, or it is also available online. Please go through it. Kind of dress, how do you relate to people that you meet, etiquette while eating food, prasad, etiquettes while offering food, etiquettes while worshipping a worshipable person, etiquettes while coming to the temple, etiquettes while going back home from the temple, etiquettes that you practice at home. There are so many ways that we interact with people. So there are certain tips that have been given, and we follow those tips. Generally, it is very helpful. All right? So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Any additions? Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
His Grace Rohini Priya Prabhu ki
Jai.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai.